Welcome to Hacking Life with Noel Verdejo, a.k.a. the Real Credit King, Rocky the Paperboy. Let me tell you about this podcast. This podcast is going to blow your mind. All we're going to do is talk to very interesting people, from celebrities to your everyday entrepreneurs to people trying to be an entrepreneur. And guess what they're going to talk about? Their hacks. All the hacks, because you know what we have in common? We all have a hack in common that took us to the spot that we in now or to the spot we going to. So that's what this podcast is about. Now, I've been working on this for a long time, guys. I've dibbled and dabbled with the vlog scene. I dibbled and dabbled in the ads. I dibbled and dabbled in all type of media. But the podcast was something that's been in my heart for about a year now. And it finally came to life with friends of mine that helped me bring it to this point. So this smile that you see on my face is genuine because I'm excited for something that I'm really passionate. I'm going to be able to talk to people that are going to tell me what they did to get them to the level that they at. And it's going to be truly exciting for me and for you, because that's the way I got here, listening to other people's exciting hacks. And I took my own hacks and got here. So pay attention, folks. These episodes are going to be crazy. You're not going to want to miss them. So hit subscribe now, because this is the one. This is the complete different one. Nothing like you ever seen before from Noel Verdejo, Hacking Life, baby. So before I let you guys to get to know all my guests that are going to be on this podcast, I need you to get to know me. So let's go back. Let's go real back. And let's start from day one. When I was 18, I just left school. I was in the 9th grade. You heard me right. I was 18th in the 9th grade. Very depressed. My parents didn't know what to do with me. So I dropped out. I was 18. I was embarrassed. Very embarrassed. Okay? Once I did that, got a little job at McDonald's. A lot of us done that. From McDonald's, I went to Roy Rogers, if you even know what that is. Then I went to a Wendy's, the first one on Woodhaven and Metropolitan in Queens. If you remember when that place was open, the line was around the door for years. I was the drive-through guy. What great times. I learned a lot about business working at these fast food restaurants. Got a little older. Got a little wiser, kept taking risks, wind up working at a hotel called the Courtyard or the Marriott, something like that, at LaGuardia Airport. Don't remember quite the name. Got fired. It was the first time I ever got fired for doing something really stupid too. But it was a blessing, because the general manager there had me in a situation where I should have got arrested. And all she did was call her detective's son and have me walk me out to the bus stop. I'll never forget that. After that, I got into the music business, started DJing. I had an older cousin named DJ Danny O. Many of you know him, Daniel. Passed away in 2005. After that, that dream went out the window because he was like my big brother to me, right? I moved to New Jersey, met a beautiful person. My wife now, Andrea. We have kids. Family, been together for a long time. But Jersey was a challenge, because when I came to Jersey first, I really didn't like it, even though it was just over a couple bridges. I really thought it was weird seeing deers just roaming around the streets, because I'm from Brooklyn and Queens. We don't have deers. That shit is not out there. So it was so weird to me. But right after 9/11, and we were just dating for a couple months, it was a good decision for me to move here. So once I did that, I remember I needed to get a job. Mind you, I'm a New York kid in the streets. Do we really have jobs in the early 2000s? We did what we had to do, right? But I needed a job because I got an apartment. And I see this ad, I'll never forget, in the newspaper. I think it's the Star Ledger, New Jersey. And it said, do you want to make $100,000? Mind you, I'm 21. I've never had a job that paid me more than $250 a week. $250. This thing said $100,000 a year. No experience needed. So I call. They make an appointment with me to go to the interview. I'll never forget this manager's name. His name was Harut Kapicki. All right. Harut decides to throw a pen at me. And this is before Wolf of Wall Street. Okay. And says, sell me this pen on my kids. All I did was use Jay-Z's line. I don't remember the whole thing, but I said that I'll sell water to a well type of thing when I was selling him the pen. He thought it was the best thing he ever heard. Thank you. He didn't know hip hop. I get hired. I learned the car business. Let me rewind a little bit. I bought a car from that store maybe 4 months prior to me getting hired there, right? And I thought I was a hot shot dude, and I thought I knew what I was doing. But Mitsubishi at that time, that was one of their other brands, had 000. So it was zero down, zero interest, zero payment for a year. So I thought that was the biggest thing. So I convinced my girlfriend at the time to help me buy a brand new Mitsubishi Galant V6 fully loaded. But 2003, that was the jam. If you got that, you're the man if you got something like that. So we get it because I convinced her I ain't had to make no payments. Little did I know that since I wasn't making payments in the first year, that car was not going to be worth nowhere near half a year later on the first payment start. So I won't be able to refinance. They jam me up. So now let's fast forward. I get the job. I don't know really what I'm doing. They hand me a book of clients that I could call to get in to trade, to see if they want to trade in their cars. I'm doing that for about a day or two, and I come across my own name. And I see numbers, my phone number and everything. So I bring it up to the manager, and I say, Haru, what does these numbers right here mean? He says, oh, that's the profit we made on those people. Then I just point my finger to the left, and he just starts laughing. Because he says, you bought a car from us? I said, yeah, like 3 months ago. He goes, damn, we made money on you. That's the story of how I got into the car business, right? That lasted 18 years, from a salesperson to a finance manager to a special finance manager to a finance director to then when I got involved in credit restoration due to me losing everything. Everything. I mean, everything except my wife and kids. I lost everything. So you know what? I took it on myself to start buying books at this time on eBay. eBay was pretty big in like 2007, 2008. Well, for me, and I was trying to find things and stuff. And I started working on credit, fixed my own credit. Of course. Oh, this is how I lost everything. So we were married at that time. We got married February 14th of 2007, right? By 2008, I closed on the house the month before I got married. By a year later, I already moved out the house because I couldn't even afford the payments. Everything happened. Our recession that's happened, that hopefully doesn't happen now, was happening back then, the 2008 one. And I was one of those people that bought a house for way over the value. So when like a year came, my house was only worth one something and I owed three something. So depression kicked in. And when that depression kicked in, the fights happened in my household. I'm not paying the mortgage. The mortgage is under my wife's name. I'm over here buying sneakers. I'm addicted to sneakers. I'm addicted to Oxycontin. I'm not even thinking about the mortgage. I'm just like, what? I can't even be clear right now to tell you the truth because I was really jammed up. I'm a new father. I had my first child. I thought the right thing was to buy a house before she gave birth. Well, for a while I thought it was the worst thing I ever did, but actually now it was the best thing I ever did because I wouldn't be where I'm at now without all those learning lessons. Now that I don't want it to hit another recession, but if it does, I know how to capitalize on it this time, and that's what I'm going to do. But it was tough for a while, and I'm very proud that my wife stood with me because a lot of the things that we went through were because of my decisions. Not hers, and she stood by me. So, you know what I mean? Now, because everything is different and I learned from my mistakes and I turned it around with her help because she's my partner in my companies, and stuff like that. I'm making up for those years and all those mess ups. She was at 800 when I met her and I destroyed her credit and now I got her back to the 800s. That was my job to do that. But that's some of my life story short. I did a lot of other things. Was a club promoter here and there. I was always leaving the car business throughout those 18 years. I would leave for like 6 months or a year, and everybody will make fun of me. And I'll try to go do something, and it'll work out. But then I'll go back to the car business, or I did club promotions. There was a lot of things. DJing. I did Brinks alarms. I did. That was the worst thing ever. Working door to door, selling Brinks alarms. What else?
What do you think really shifted you out of that mindset in those bad times? Like, what was it? What actually? Because a lot of people would still be stuck in those times. A lot of people would still be
Like thinking about it.
bad credit. Like what really made you change?
That I knew there was a way to fix it. That I knew I was reading and learning that you could get out of that stuff. I had no one to teach me, but I was reading. Because I was on the internet the whole time, taking pills, reading the internet. I was learning things that I needed to change my life. That's what it was. No one took my hand. My wife did what she can. She held us down. She took the kids. She dealt with my fucking attitude. I was a disgusting person at that time. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. But it took 10 years. It took 10 years to get out of that. And out of those 10 years, maybe I had a year and a half clean in between sometimes. It was bad, man. Being addicted to an opiate, you needed to wake up. You needed to function. You need it. You know how bad you wish to be a child again? That you will wake up happy and just play toys with a smile? I would have done anything to feel like that again. That's what that fucking drug did to me. And I can't blame the drug itself because I was putting it in myself. But it started because I got a taste of it from a dentist. I never knew what an opiate was. Not Vicodin. I never had any of that prior to that. Prior to that, smoked some doobies, had some real ecstasy, the real stuff, not the fake shit. You know what I'm saying? I had some real stuff. I dibbled and dabbled. Whatever I dibbled and dabbled wasn't something that was going to kill me. But when I had that pharmaceutical prescription given to me, and then 2 weeks after taking it, I still have some, and I'm back at work with no toothache, and I feel like it's making me sell like Superman, I was convinced that that pill, for some reason, made me be the best salesperson ever. I got promoted through it. A lot of good stuff happened at work, but a lot of bad stuff happened at home. You follow? So that's why I said a little comment the other day online that got a lot of people upset, but that's my personal opinion. Everybody got personal opinion. My personal opinion is I lived it. I know what it does. Plus, I have an uncle that died from heroin. I have a cousin that his own father, I'm going to say it here, his own father, my uncle by marriage, story is they didn't want to see his son suffer anymore. So he went out and got them some dope. He ain't wake up from that batch. And throughout me knowing all this, an uncle, a nephew, I still went all the way. No, I didn't inject. It doesn't make a difference. I still did the drug. And believe it or not, Oxycontin, I think it's purer than street heroin. Now, I'm talking about late 2000s, early 2000s. Now, I'm very fortunate that I was saved back in 2013 because this fentanyl that's all over the place, I would have died. The amount that I was consuming, there would have definitely been a fake pill in there or a bag laced with extra fentanyl. It would have been over. When I see these people out here in Florida, because there's a lot out here leaning on the corners of 95 off the exits, it hurts. It bothers me. I'm not going to give them any money. I don't want to be the ones that gave them the money, that gave them the hot shot. But that shit it's just because I was that close to being that person. I was that close. Right before I took myself to rehab, no one brought me. I didn't have an intervention. I hid it very well. People couldn't control me. I hid it very well. My parents, my wife, nobody knew exactly what it was till the second day in rehab when I was 24 hours all the drugs out of my system, and all I was feeling was anxiety, and I wanted to confess. And I called them all up and told them. And everybody was shocked. Very shocking moment. You know, they knew something, but they didn't think what it was. My father was in doubt. He said, that's a medical doctor pill. It's in your head. But when his friend told him what it was, then he was like, fuck it. This nigga's in trouble. It's sad. I'm dealing with a friend of mine's stepson that we've tried to help on and off, and right now is not the time to be on that fucking drug, guys. For anybody out there, don't be on it. I get it. We're human beings. Some of us, you know, are gonna try something. I get it, but the people manufacturing some of these drugs, they're putting stuff in there to kill you. It's not fun anymore. It's not fun anymore. So I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it now. I'll never do it. My life has changed. My life did a whole 180. A whole 180. It's completely different from what it was when I was doing drugs. I know for a fact, I truly believe that if I was to do hardcore drugs right now, if I was to disrespect my spouse and cheat on her, if I was to steal, lie, and scam people, if I was to maliciously hate on people, anything like that, anything that's just negative, I will lose everything that I've worked for. That's what I've convinced myself. And that's why I won't do anything like that. It's not worth it. As bad as I might need the money, because people think because you have a lot of material things that you're rich, you're fucking far from you're very far from that. Okay? I teach people how to get things on credit. And if you understand how credit works, you put a little bit of money down and you walk out with the expensive item and you make a monthly payment. Right? I tell everybody everything that I have, I'm making payments on. But who's the smarter person? Me? Or the guy that just went out and bought all the same toys and spent $1 million? I think I am, because I'm writing them all off. But he has the $1 million to spend it, but he's choosing to spend it differently. But anyway, so now it's the end of 2012. I'm leaving Transformation Rehab in Delray, Florida. I'm a new man. It's also the beginning of 2013. I'm excited. Got a great new job. Fast forward a little bit. We open up a great company to help people that need the help from the knowledge that I got. And now we're doing this wonderful podcast to even help more by showing you how we did it all. That's what I teach. I'm a life hacker. Okay? And in our podcast here of Hacking Life, I'm gonna bring a lot of interesting people to teach you what they done. And pay close attention, because it's better than school. Way better than school. You're going to learn things that you're not going to hear in school, that you're going to be able to put into what you're doing and be successful.